It started with a message. Tara found the folded note inside her locker. No name, just her name, written in sharp, slanted ink. Inside, 6 words were scribbled.
Want to play the secret game.
She thought it was a joke, probably Derek or Kayla, being weird again. But the note had something else, something that made her blood run cold. Coordinates. GPS coordinates. And a time. Midnight. Come alone. Her fingers trembled as she read it again. Why midnight? Why alone? Tara was no stranger to games, but this felt different. It didn't feel like a prank. It felt like a dare. And the worst part? She was going to say yes. Tara followed the coordinates, all the way to the old tennis courts, behind the abandoned rec center. There were 4 others waiting, all from school. But not her friends. Like counting on her fingers, Danny, the overachiever, Luis, the quiet artist, Andre, the burnout, and Kim, the strange girl no one really knew. They stood in a circle, each one holding an identical envelope.
"This isn't a prank," she said. "This is the secret game. Once we start, we finish, or we disappear."
Tara hesitated, but she opened her envelope. Inside, a single card, typed in red block letters.
Rule 1. Do not tell anyone. Rule 2. Complete your task before sunrise. Rule 3. If you fail, you vanish.
She looked up. The others were reading the same card. No one spoke. Only Kim. Smiled. From her bag, she pulled out a small antique box. Inside, 5 slips of paper, tasks. Tara's hands were sweating now. She was about to pick her fate. Tara reached into the box. The paper was cold, old, slightly damp. She unfolded it with trembling hands.
Dig beneath locker, number 52, midnight, alone.
She looked up. Locker 52? That was in the gym, the one they closed after the fire last year. The one nobody was allowed near. Tara glanced at the others. Danny was pale. Luis looked down. Andre was already walking away. And Kim?
"You have until sunrise."
Tara wanted to walk away. She should have walked away. But something about the card, the box, the way the others moved without question. It felt like something was watching them, or waiting. And then Kim added one more thing.
"If you try to leave, the game follows you."
So Tara turned and headed for the gym. The gym smelled like smoke and mold. Its doors groaned as Tara slipped through. Her flashlight flickered once, then steadied. Dust hung in the air like mist. Locker 52 was at the far end, bent, rusty. She dragged it open. The hinges squealed like a scream. Inside, taped to the back wall, was an old photo, black and white. 5 kids. One of them looked just like her. Then she noticed the floor, a loose tile right beneath the locker. She pried it open using a screwdriver from her pocket. Underneath, a plastic bag. Inside the bag, a jar. And inside the jar, a tongue, shriveled, human, Wrapped around it, another note. The game began in 1973. The last player failed. Now it's your turn to finish what they couldn't. The gym went dark. Tara ran, but someone or something was following. Tara didn't stop running until she burst out of the gym's back exit. The night air hit her like ice. She leaned against the brick wall, trying to catch her breath. Her fingers still clutched the note, still shaking. And then, a text.
Good job, but we're not done yet.
Another one.
Check your kitchen wall.
Tara turned cold. She was home alone, but she hadn't told anyone she went back. She raced home, every light on, every lock checked, twice. She stepped into the kitchen, and on the wall, written in thick red letters,
You opened the box. Now the game is inside.
the paint wasn't paint. It was still wet, still warm. She backed away, and from the hallway, her bedroom door creaked open by itself. Tara stood frozen. The bedroom door creaked wider, just a crack, enough to show the darkness behind it.
She hadn't left it open.
She reached for her phone, but it was already ringing. The screen said, "Unknown." She answered.
You shouldn't have run.
Tara dropped the phone. The door swung open, fast. Inside, the room was empty, except a piece of string tied from the window lock to a nail in the wall. Someone had set it up, booby-trapped it. She looked down, on her bed, a teddy bear. Her childhood bear, missing since she was 10, and stitched across its chest.
Player 5.
Then, from under the bed,
Player 4's gone now. Your turn.
Tara bolted from the room, heart hammering, legs numb. She didn't look back, down the stairs, out the front door, into the night. She didn't stop running until she was blocks away. She ducked into a bus shelter, hands trembling, and finally called the one person who'd know what to do, Jen. Jen picked up, but something was wrong.
Hey, Tara. You still playing?
Tara's breath caught. Jen? Then,
Player 3 forfeited. Want to know how?
Tara ended the call, threw the phone onto the sidewalk. The screen shattered. But in the broken shards, a reflection. Someone, standing behind her, still watching from across the street.
You started the game, Tara. Why are you trying to quit?
Tara ran again. She didn't know where. Her mind raced. Who was that on the street? How did they have her old uniform? How did they sound like Jen? She turned a corner and ducked into an alley, tried to steady her breath. That's when her phone buzzed. The screen flickered. Just for a second, and showed something new.
Round 2 begins. New rule, no speaking after midnight.
Tara checked the time. 11:58 p.m. 2 minutes. She spun around and saw her reflection in the dark window of a closed shop. But it wasn't her. It was smirking and holding something. A note, pressed against the glass, scrawled in jagged ink.
Your voice is the next piece.
She backed away, But the reflection stayed, unblinking, still smirking. Then a hand, no, a replica of hers, slammed against the inside of the glass. Clawing, mouthing one word.
Mute.
Tara sprinted out of the alley. Her watch buzzed. 12 a.m., midnight. She opened her mouth to scream, to warn someone, but nothing came out. No sound, not even a breath. Her voice was gone. She clutched her throat, panicking, trying to speak, to shout, to cry. Nothing. Behind her, a soundless figure, moving like smoke. No footsteps, no shadow, just the outline of a man, wearing a paper mask, eyes drawn in red marker, a wide smile, carved from cheek to cheek. He held up a card.
Player 5, muted, watched.
And behind him, more figures, masked, watching, each holding cards.
Player 1, eliminated. Player 2, silence broken. Player 3, replaced. Player 4, expired.
The man stepped forward, held out the final card, Tara's name. Below it,
Recording now.
she turned. A drone hovered behind her, camera blinking red, broadcasting, live. Then, we're watching now. She knows the rules. She broke them. Time to play for real. Tara blinked, once, twice. She was no longer on the street, no city, no sky, just red walls, deep crimson, dripping, like wet paint. She turned slowly, the floor beneath her, concrete, cold, stained. She wasn't alone. A figure sat across from her, back turned, staring at an old TV. On the screen, grainy footage of her in her room, sleeping.
We've been watching a long time.
Tara stepped back, her ankle scraped against something metal. She looked down. Chains, dozens of them, bolted to the floor, each one with a name tag.
Player 1, Player 2, Player 3, Tara.
Her tag glinted in the red light, still unlocked, but not for long. She tried to scream, but still no voice, only the echo of her breath, and something else. A countdown, flashing on the wall.
59, 58, 57.
She wasn't just being watched. She was part of something, timed, structured, scripted, a game, one she didn't know the rules to, one she was already losing. The countdown hit 0, and the lights cut out. Then a dim spotlight snapped on overhead, blinding her for a moment. When Tara's eyes adjusted, she wasn't alone anymore. 5 figures stood in a circle around her, faces hidden behind smooth porcelain masks, each one painted differently. A smile, a frown, a scream, a blank stare, and one cracked.
Player 5, you've been observed.
One of them stepped forward, the smiling one. It held something in its hand. A small envelope, black wax seal, dripping. Tara backed up, frightened but defiant. "Who are you? What is this?" But no sound came, still voiceless. The cracked mask tilted, mocking. "You were never supposed to leave the circle." Tara looked down.
Drawn beneath her, a chalk symbol.
An exact copy of the one she'd seen in the alley. A circle of eyes. All open. All watching. She wasn't just trapped. She was chosen. The masked ones all turned to the red door behind them. It opened on its own, creaking, grinding, ancient. And from the dock beyond it, a voice called her name.
You're late for your final round.
Tara stepped through the red door. And immediately, her vision blurred. The world shifted. Walls curved inward, floors pulsed beneath her feet like the building itself was alive. And then she heard it again. Her voice, speaking from the shadows.
I cheated. I left the circle. I broke the rule. I broke the rule. I broke...
She followed the sound, down a tight hallway. The walls were covered in handprints, dozens of them, all in black paint, some smaller than hers. At the end, a room opened, dark, empty except for a tall mirror, cracked, but standing. Tara moved closer and gasped. It was her reflection, but it blinked first, then it smiled.
You shouldn't have run. You made it harder. Now I have to wear you the long way.
She staggered back, but the reflection stayed, still smiling, still watching. Then it reached out from inside the mirror. Tara screamed, but no sound came. She turned to run and slammed straight into the masked figure with the cracked mask. It held up the envelope again. This time, it was open. Inside, a photo. Her, eyes gone, lips sewn shut. The back read,
Final round. Reflection.
She was no longer sure if she was watching herself. Tara ran, down halls that shouldn't exist, through doors that opened into staircases leading only deeper. Then she found it. A chamber, wide, stone walls, candles that dripped wax upward. And in the center, a tall, thin figure sat in a chair made of bones, face obscured, body wrapped in tattered ink-black robes. It held something in its hand, a ticking metronome. Tara stepped closer, and the figure finally spoke.
You broke the rule. You left the circle. You owe a forfeit.
Tara shook her head. No, I didn't ask for this. I never agreed.
You played, and now you must finish it.
The walls began to close in. The candle flames twisted, burning blue. The metronome stopped. And all at once, the figure stood. It lifted a long finger, pointing at Tara. And from behind her,
One must remain. One must stay. One must carry the game.
she turned and saw herself. Another Tara, bleeding, crying, crawling out of the mirror behind her. There were now 2. The game master raised a coin, one side scarred, one side clean, and whispered,
Heads or tails?
Tara stared at the other her. Same face, same terror. The game master extended its hand. A coin balanced on its bony palm.
Choose.
Neither of them moved. Neither of them spoke. Because they both knew only one could leave. The other would stay in the game forever. Then the mirror Tara lunged. The room spun. Walls peeled like skin.
All players must obey.
Tara reached out, grabbed the coin midair, screamed, Heads! Heads. The mirror self smiled and vanished into black ash. The game master stepped back, bowed, and opened a door behind Tara. A door of white light, the first light she'd seen in what felt like years. She stepped through and woke up back in her bedroom just before sunrise. Phone by her bed. No missed calls, no messages, just one notification.
Thank you for playing.
She looked into the mirror, her reflection, blinked a half-second late, and whispered,
Your turn to invite the next player.
Lisa had always wanted to live in the city. So when her childhood best friend, Mia, offered her a cheap room in an old apartment downtown, she said yes without hesitation. The place had charm, old school, creaky, but nothing they couldn't laugh about. There was one thing, though. Lisa's room had no windows, and the walls were strangely thick. She joked, "Feels like a tomb in here." But neither of them left for long. A few nights in, Lisa woke up, exactly 2:17 a.m. No reason, just awake. And then she heard it. Lisa.
She trusts me so much. So easy, so perfect.
Shocked, quiet. Lisa sat up, her heart pounding. The voice was coming from inside the wall, right behind her bed. And it was definitely not a dream. The next morning, she asked Mia, had she been on a call late last night? Maybe playing a video? Mia just blinked.
Nope. I passed out. Why?
Lisa hesitated. She didn't want to sound crazy, so she laughed it off. Nothing, just thought I heard voices. That night, it was worse. She heard humming. A soft, slow melody. The lullaby her mother used to sing when she was 5. Only one person in the world had ever heard that song before. Mia. Lisa tried to record the sounds. She placed her phone against the wall, hit record, and lay in the dark. The whispers came like clockwork. She won't remember.
She never sees me watching.
But when she checked the file, nothing. Dead silence. Every single time she recorded, the file came out blank. Was it in her head? Was she losing it? Or was something, making sure it couldn't be heard? Then, buttons went missing. Her cat, her baby, gone without a trace. For 2 days, Lisa searched the building, asked neighbors, posted flyers, until the smell started. That rotting, sour stench, rising from the vents. She followed it, down to the boiler room. There, behind a stack of dusty paint cans, she found him. Buttons. Mangled. Twisted. Eyes gone. Tongue missing. The cat was first. Now it's her turn. Lisa sobbed as she wrapped his broken body in a towel. Sob. Mia stood behind her, resting a hand on her shoulder, comforting. But Lisa noticed something. Mia's hands smelled like bleach. Lisa stayed up again that night, afraid to sleep, afraid of what she might hear. She pressed her ear against the wall, and the whispering returned. Louder this time. Clearer.
She cries over the cat. I wanted to see her pain. I'm almost done. Just need her skin.
Lisa covered her mouth, trying not to scream. The voice was close, too close. And then, she heard herself, her own voice, whispering back, "No, no, you don't!" The next morning, Lisa saw the neighbor, Mr. Caldwell, an old man who always smoked on the third-floor steps. She asked, carefully, "Has anyone else ever lived in that apartment, room 303? He looked up slowly, blew out a long drag.
Yeah, a few girls. They don't stay long. One just vanished. Cops said she ran away.
Then he leaned in, eyes trembling.
But I heard her scream. Through the vents, she begged someone not to hurt her.
Before Lisa could ask more, Mia appeared behind her, silent, smiling.
Forget what he said. He's just lonely.
Lisa couldn't take it anymore. She waited until Mia left for work and began searching the apartment. Every crack, every panel, every shadowed corner. In Mia's closet, she found it. A loose wooden board. Behind it, a dark, narrow passage. Lined with black foam. Shelves filled with labeled tapes.
Sleeping, 2018. Shower, 2019. Crying, 2020.
Drawings, dozens of them. Stick figures. A girl with long hair, being watched, through a wall. Every single one was Lisa. In a red box, she found a leather-bound journal, pages warped with age, and something sticky, dried blood. The entries were worse than whispers. They were obsession.
Lisa laughs when she sleeps. She's perfect. Her voice annoys me, but her silence will be beautiful.
The final page had fresh ink.
Tonight's the night. I've practiced enough. She'll stay forever.
Lisa ran out into the living room. Mia was already there, standing by the window, waiting.
You weren't supposed to find that yet. You ruined the surprise.
She offered Lisa a cup of tea. Lisa hesitated, but her hands were shaking, trembling. So she drank. Moments later, her vision blurred. The room tilted sideways.
Shh, you'll sleep through the pain.
Lisa collapsed. Lisa woke up, cold and in complete darkness. Her limbs didn't move. Her jaw wouldn't open. Her wrists were bound. Duct tape wrapped her head. Her screams stayed inside her skull. A faint light flickered overhead. She was inside the wall, a hidden room, and in the corner a camera, recording. On the concrete beside her, scratched with nails,
No voice, no body, no escape.
Lisa fought to breathe, to move. Her thumb dislocated with a sickening pop. She slipped one hand free. The camera tumbled, shattered. She crawled, scraped her knees raw, blood smearing across concrete. She pushed open a crawl door, hope surging in her chest. But behind her, a shriek, not human, not anymore.
Lisa. Don't run. I made this place for you.
Lisa knew she wouldn't outrun her. Not in this labyrinth, so she turned toward the fuse box. Sparks, a wire loose. The fire was instant. Old wood, dry insulation. Smoke filled the walls, the air, choking. Lisa coughed, crawled, slipped in ash, her eyes burning, her lungs screaming. Mia burst through the smoke, face half burned, but smiling.
If I can't have your voice, I'll wear your face.
They fought. Blood, screams, silence. Lisa grabbed a broken pipe, drove it through Mia's shoulder. Mia screamed, but still reached out, still tried to hug her.
Stay with me.
Lisa collapsed into the hallway, her body burned, bloody, barely alive. Smoke poured out of the vents behind her. Neighbors screamed. Sirens wailed in the distance. Police broke in, and what they found, no one could forget. Dozens of tapes, teeth, locks of hair, names carved into the floor, but no Mia. Only blood, and a trail, disappearing into the hollow walls. Months passed. Lisa never spoke again. Her therapist said the trauma had silenced her forever. But Lisa knew the truth. Speaking would call her back. Now she lives alone, on the 18th floor of a luxury high-rise. Steel, concrete, no crawl spaces. Safe. Or so she thought. She didn't bury me deep enough.
We had just gotten married, 2 freelancers, a new city, starting over from scratch. The apartment was older, but it had charm, big windows, creaky floors, and a price we could actually afford. It felt like a fresh start. Then she appeared. An elderly woman with warm eyes and silver hair tied in a perfect bun.
Call me Mrs. Verma. I take care of everything here.
She handed us the keys, smiled, and walked away. No contracts, no ID, just trust. At the time, that felt comforting. Now, it was the first warning sign. The next morning, she knocked again. And there she was, smiling, holding a tray with 2 cups of chai and warm samosas. She said,
Just my way of welcoming new people.
Cups placed on table, soft laughter. Nisha loved her immediately. They chatted like they'd known each other for years. She told us not to worry about paperwork.
We'll sort it out later.
She smiled.
You two look like honest souls.
At the time, that felt like kindness. But even then, there were things I noticed. She didn't use any keys to enter the building. She didn't even live in one of the flats. Not really. And the neighbors never said hello when she walked by. Rent day came quickly. Mrs. Verma knocked and asked for it in cash.
Bank transfers take too long, and these digital things confuse me.
We paid. No receipt, no acknowledgement, just a nod, and she left. I didn't want to make it awkward. Nisha told me not to be paranoid. But I started tracking it anyway. Each payment, each date.
Something about her eyes, the way they lingered on the money, like she needed it for something more than rent.
There was a door right across the hall from us. Always locked, always cold near it. It had a rusted padlock and no nameplate. One evening, I asked, "What's inside?" Mrs. Verma smiled. Too quickly.
Just a utility room. Nothing important.
But late at night, we started hearing things. A sound like furniture being pulled, or someone dragging something heavy across the floor. I brought it up again. She just said,
Some things are better left sealed.
Then she laughed, and the next night, we heard breathing. right behind that door. One morning, a bill slipped under our door. No note, just a folded gas statement. It was addressed to someone else. Mr. Goyle, property owner. I asked Mrs. Verma about it. She waved it off.
Old tenant. The company never updates things properly.
She didn't even look at it. But something felt off. So I called the number on the bill. A tired man picked up. His voice was dry, tired.
You're living in flat B3?
I froze. Yeah?
That unit's been closed since 2017. Gas leak explosion. No one's lived there since.
I didn't know what to say. I hung up. But for the first time since we moved in, I didn't want to go back inside.
Mrs. Verma didn't come to collect rent that week.
Her door stayed closed. No footsteps, no knocking, nothing. The hallway felt colder than usual.
Quieter.
Misha said she probably left to visit family, but I noticed something strange. The smell, it crept under our door. A mix of burnt roses and something sour, like old incense that had been burning for too long. We knocked. No answer. We waited. Still. No one opened the door. And when I leaned in, I swear, I heard her whispering on the other side, but it wasn't in any language I understood. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing sounds from upstairs, footsteps, slow pacing, over and over. I decided to ask the woman who lived directly above us. We'd never talked before. She opened the door just a crack. A thin line of light lit half her face. I smiled politely. Sorry to bother you, I just wanted to ask. Do you know Mrs. Verma, the one who handles the rent? She froze, eyes widening like I'd said something terrible.
Verma auntie died years ago. Gas leak. In your unit.
I didn't know what to say, but before I could ask another question, she was gone. Dead? How could she be dead? We saw her just days ago. She brought us tea. She took our rent. Then who was living right across from us? I couldn't ignore it anymore. Not the whispers, not the locked door, not the stories. Something was wrong with this place. I started checking the walls, corners, behind the furniture, looking for anything. Then a hollow thud. And then, behind a loose panel near the fuse box, I found it. An envelope, old, torn, burnt along the edges. Inside were photos of other couples. Different faces, different years, all of them standing in our apartment, in the same poses, same window, same furniture. And beneath the photos, receipts, all signed by the same hand, Mrs. Verma. Different names, different victims, but always the same address. She'd done this before, and each time she kept the proof. After what I found, I couldn't sleep. So I stepped out into the hallway. The air felt heavier out there, like the walls knew. I walked to the end of the corridor. Something I never noticed before, a building photo. Framed, faded, staff, tenants, maybe from 10 years ago. I leaned in closer. And that's when I saw her, Mrs. Verma, standing in the middle of the group, holding a clipboard, but her face was scratched out. Not worn away, not faded, deliberately scratched. Dozens of jagged lines where her eyes used to be. Below it, a tiny plaque. It read, Mrs. Verma, deceased. Explosion in B3, January 2017. We were living in the apartment she died in. She didn't survive the gas leak, but she came back anyway to collect what she was still owed.
The next morning, there was an envelope.
No knock, no footsteps, just there. It sat neatly under the door, white, sealed. Nisha picked it up, opened it, and froze. Inside were the exact bills we given her, folded, flattened, not a wrinkle on them. The rent. Returned. We stared at each other in silence. Then we noticed it. A note inside. My rent.
Paid in full.
It wasn't her handwriting. It wasn't even in ink. It was burned into the paper, like it had been seared, pressed into the page. Misha dropped it. We didn't speak for the rest of the day. We were being warned.
That night, I woke up at 2:17 a.m. Something pulled me out of sleep. A sound. A presence. I stepped into the hallway. Barefoot. Cold. And I saw it. The door across from ours, the one that had always been locked, was now open. The padlock lying on the floor, cleanly snapped. The air pouring out of that room was colder than outside, thicker, like walking into a place that remembered things. I stepped closer. Inside, no furniture, no boxes, just walls covered in black. Not paint, not mold, char marks, like a fire had raged inside, but only touched the walls. In the center of the floor sat an old chair, burnt, crumbling, and in that chair, a shape. For just a second, I saw her staring at me. Then the lights went out. When the lights came back on, the room was empty, the chair burnt through completely. No sign of her, no ashes, no Verma. I stumbled back into our flat, heart racing, head spinning. But something was wrong. Nisha wasn't in bed. I checked the bathroom, the kitchen, everywhere. No note, no sound, no warmth left in her tea mug. She was just gone. I ran outside. Checked the building, the security cameras, nothing. It was like she vanished in her sleep. I screamed her name in the stairwell, cried into the elevator mirror. I went back into the burnt room, but it was sealed again, padlocked. No sign it had ever opened.
She's not yours anymore.
The police couldn't help, no proof of entry, no signs of struggle, just one tenant missing, and me staring into the dark, alone.
Days passed. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. I just sat, staring at the walls, waiting for something, anything. Then I saw her, Nisha, in the bathroom mirror, not behind me, inside it, just standing there, not blinking, not moving,
I turned around, no one. But when I looked back, she mouthed something.
Help me.
That same day, an envelope appeared under the door again. The rent returned again and written in that same scorched script.
Paid in full.
Every time I touched money, my wallet, a coin, a bill, I'd hear her voice, faint, calling out. She was tied to it, to Verma's obsession, to the transaction, to the room. Nisha hadn't just disappeared. She'd been taken by the house.
I couldn't take it anymore. I had to get her back, even if it meant going through her. I broke into the room. The blackened walls still stank of smoke, but the air felt different this time. Like something knew I was coming, like it was waiting. In the middle, the chair was gone. Now there was a mirror, just standing there, cracked, but pulsing, like it was alive. And inside it, Nisha. She was screaming, mouth open but no sound. I reached out, grabbed the edges of the frame, and pulled. The glass was hot, burning. It cut deep into my palms, but I didn't care. And Sen, she was in my arms, alive, crying, shaking, burnt, but real. Behind us, Verma stood, her eyes hollow, her mouth moving, but no words came out. Just one long, final breath, and she was gone. We packed the next morning. Didn't speak, didn't rest, just left. Left the burned room, the whispers, the rent. I never turned back, not even once. We moved across town. New apartment, new furniture, new locks. For weeks, things were quiet. Too quiet. But then, one night, I heard it. That sound again. An envelope, perfectly folded, waiting. Inside was no money, no receipt, just a note.
Rent is due.
We left that apartment too, and now we never stay in one place for long. Because she's still with us, somewhere in the shadows, in the silence, in the rent we never owed.
You can change your address, but if she picks you,
she always collects.
They say when you grow up in Mumbai, you get used to the rain. You grow up with the thunder. You fall asleep to the sound of water hitting your window pane. But some sounds, they don't just fade. They stay with you, like a memory that wasn't yours. Like footsteps behind you when no one's there. This is the story of the umbrella that followed me for 12 years. It was 2013. I was 17. And it was raining so hard that the gutters overflowed like rivers. I remember running under a shop awning near Ontario Station, and beside me, a woman. She held a plain black umbrella with a small tear in the fabric, right near the edge. She didn't speak. She didn't look at me. And then she stepped into the road. The car hit her. Hard. I screamed. People turned, but by the time they reached her, she was gone. No body, just the umbrella, lying in the middle of the street. Still open, still dry. Over the years, I kept seeing that umbrella. At train stations, malls, signals. Never the same person holding it, but always the same umbrella, same tear, same handle, same feeling of cold dread in my spine when I saw it. And every time, someone went missing. I started keeping a notebook. I wrote down every time I saw that umbrella, every location, every date, every face that carried it. It made no sense. Why did no one else seem to notice? Why didn't they feel the cold when it passed them? 3 years in, I recognized a man near CST. He smiled at me. He held that umbrella. And then, he vanished. No news report, no missing posters. But I remember his eyes. He was scared. Was it me? Was I connected to this thing? Was it choosing them because I noticed? I stopped writing after that. But the rain kept falling. One night, there was a knock at the door. It was raining hard. The kind of rain that drowns out thoughts. Through the peephole, I saw her. A little girl, maybe 8, maybe 10, soaked to the bone. Her hands clutched a black umbrella, with a tear near the edge. I didn't open the door. Couldn't. She knocked again, and whispered, "It's yours now." When I blinked, she was gone, but the umbrella was there, dry, waiting. I left the umbrella outside for days. It didn't move, didn't get wet, didn't even gather dust. I finally took it to the backyard, poured kerosene on it, struck a match. The flames touched it and vanished. No smoke, no burning, just a sudden gust of wind that nearly knocked me over. When I opened my eyes, it was back at the front door. Neighbors started vanishing. First, the man upstairs. Then the couple across the hall. Police asked questions. But nothing ever came of it. And every time, I'd seen the umbrella near them a day before. I stopped leaving the house, but that didn't stop the knocking. Always on rainy nights, always followed by silence. I went to see a psychiatrist. I told him everything, even showed him the umbrella. He laughed, said it was trauma, projection, survivor's guilt. I left it in his office, hoping that maybe it would leave with him. A week later, his clinic was closed. No forwarding address. His name removed from the building. And that same night, the umbrella was back. On my balcony. It's been raining for days now, non-stop. And the water is rising. People in the neighborhood look different. Hollow, blank. I saw one of them carrying it yesterday. The umbrella. They smiled at me. The same smile the man near CST gave me all those years ago. I think I know what comes next. Tonight, I'll walk outside. Not because I want to, but because I have to. Maybe if I take it, really take it, it'll stop. Maybe it just wants someone to carry it willingly. So, when you see someone in the rain, holding a torn black umbrella, don't smile at them, don't speak to them, and whatever you do, don't take cover under it. Ever.
Every city has a ghost. Some wear old stories, others ride the wind, or hide in flickering lights. But in this city, the ghost drives a bus. They say, when the rain is heavy and the hour is late, a bus appears that no one remembers boarding. And once you're on, you don't get off. Daniel Mercer was the last known person to ride Route 13. He was just a tired man, finishing a long shift. And when the storm came, he made a choice. One we're all told not to make. He stepped on a bus that didn't exist. And he never stepped off. Daniel actually lived alone. Worked nights fixing signs, the kind of man you don't notice until he disappears. That night, everything went wrong. The client delayed payment, the lift jammed, and just as he packed up, his car refused to start. The rain was relentless, cold, blinding. He called a cab, no signal, Uber, nothing. His phone battery blinked red, 1%. That's when he saw it, a terminal, one he swore wasn't there yesterday. No people, no noise, just a dark platform and an old sign that read, Route 13.
The bus was already there. No sound, no engine, no light, just waiting. Daniel stepped closer. Rain hit the pavement like nails on metal. The door opened on its own. Sharp hiss of air escaped, like something inside had been holding its breath. He stepped in. Inside, no driver, just rows of seats. Silent passengers, children. They didn't move. They didn't blink. They sat, staring forward. He called out, "Is this going downtown?" No answer. But the bus pulled away. The ride was silent. Too silent. The hum of the road was wrong, more like a heartbeat. Daniel looked out the window. That wasn't his city. Buildings twisted in ways they shouldn't. Street signs flashed names he hadn't heard since childhood. Miller Ave, his first grade teacher. Gallows Turn, the lake where his cousin drowned. The bus wasn't taking him anywhere new. It was taking him back. His phone still read 11:57 p.m. That's when the children began humming, all of them, at once. Off-key, the same song his mother used to sing. Wildfires when he was scared. Lightning cracked outside, but it didn't flash the sky. It flashed the windows. In them, Daniel saw himself. First, he saw his mother screaming during a childhood storm. Next, a college girl crying in the rain. He left her. No goodbye. Then, headlights, a crash, a man crawling on the road. Daniel kept driving. The bus wasn't just showing him memories, it was collecting him. Every seat was another part of him he'd tried to forget. The more he watched, the older he felt. His hands were wrinkling. Time was unraveling. Then he noticed her. One child who had turned. She wore a red coat. Her lips were stitched shut, but her eyes were wide, pleading. She reached for Daniel's hand, ice cold. She mouthed, "Don't get off. Don't get off." Blood started leaking from her eyes. The humming stopped. The lights went out. Everything turned black. And the bus plunged into a tunnel. A tunnel that wasn't made of concrete. It felt like skin. Then, silence. Daniel awoke on a bench. The bus was gone. The storm had passed. His clothes were dry. He looked around, not a soul in sight, but something was wrong. The station was old, decayed, as if it hadn't been used in decades. A flickering CCTV camera hummed above. Daniel stood and caught his reflection in a puddle. But the reflection didn't move. It just stared. He rushed home. The streetlights flickered the same way they had in the bus, but this wasn't his neighborhood. The signs were older, the trees taller. Something had changed. Inside his apartment, everything looked right, but the photos were wrong. In one, He stood with a girl. She looked familiar. The girl in the red coat. Daniel searched her name. What he found chilled his spine. 1978 school bus, Route 13, crashed during a flood. No survivors, except one girl who was never identified. And next to the article, a photo, blurry, but Daniel swore he saw himself in the background, watching. That night, Daniel stayed awake. The power flickered. Just after midnight, he heard a hiss outside, the sound of air brakes. He looked out his window and saw a bus parked across the street. Rain, falling again. A silhouette sat in the driver's seat, whisper, watching his window. Daniel backed away, but the door creaked open behind him. Not the front door, the back. A child's voice whispered, "Last stop?" The next morning, Daniel was gone. No sign of struggle, just a puddle in his kitchen and muddy footprints leading to the door. Weeks passed, then months. Police closed the case. No leads, no motive. But online, whispers grew. A forum called Forgotten Routes shared a thread. I saw Route 13 last night. A photo, blurry, rain, a bus, children, same red coat. One post stood out. Got on just to dry off. Didn't see a driver. Heard a girl whisper in my ear, "Don't get off." The user never posted again. So if you're walking home late and it starts to rain and a bus pulls up, one you've never seen before, with fogged up windows and humming passengers, don't get on. Because once you board, you're already part of the route. Route 13, the bus that only stops for the forgotten. Every city has a street no map will show. And sometimes a bus still runs it. So next time you're alone at the stop and a bus pulls up with no lights, no number, no driver's face, don't get on, let it pass. Trust me. This has been The Bleeding Hour. Subscribe before the doors close.